All right, so now we're going to talk about graphing inequalities in two variables. So I've got two lines that are already solved for y. So we should already know how to solve for an inequality. Remember, every time you multiply or divide by a negative, that's the only time the inequality flips around. So what I have here is they're already set up in y equals mx plus b for us. So I'm going to look at this first equation. Y is less than or equal to negative 3/4 x plus 3. So if we were to graph this line like normal, the 3, the number without a variable at all, that's our y-intercept. Write it as an ordered pair, 0, 3. By keeping it as an ordered pair, that makes sure you don't accidentally create some new point that shouldn't exist. Tells you where to start on this graph. Okay? Then we're going to take the number that's with the x. That's your slope. M equals negative 3/4. So we have y equals mx plus b. M is your slope, b is your y-intercept. What this slope tells us is how to get from one point to the next point. So we have the point 0, 3. You can go ahead and put that on your graph. Is 0, 3. And the slope, the sign is going to tell us whether we go up or down. Since it's negative, we're going to go down. If it had been positive, we'd go up. And I always go to the right. So I always put my sign to the top. That tells me up or down. And then your denominator always tells you to run to the right. Rise over run. So negative 3, you start from this point. We're going to go down, 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 and go down 3. And then we're going to go right 4. Right, 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 right. So you give me a new point right there. Okay? From the original point, go up or down, and go right. Label your points. This is the point 4, 0. And then we need to connect the dots. The problem with connecting dots is a lot of people go ahead and put a straight line through them. And then they come back and say, should it be dotted or should it be solid? So it'd be easier to tell if that's up front. But a lot of people forget, so you can always go back and erase to make it dotted. If this was equal to, then it should be a solid line. Because it was that equal sign. If it's not equal to, such as this other one, this one's going to be a dotted line, not a solid line. Okay? The less than symbol, that's going to tell you your shading. So there's a variety of ways you can do your shading. Some books teach you how to do test points, and you test a point on the line to tell if it's dotted or solid. You test a point above, you test a point below. It gets really busy when you've got two lines, you've got to test both lines, and you've got 4 different places you've got to test. It gets really busy and really tedious, so we're going to work on a different way to do it. So we have y is less than or equal to the line, basically. So y is your shading. Another way to say less than would be smaller than. Your line. So y is less than the line is the same thing as saying y is smaller than the line. So our shading needs to be smaller y values. So our y values, they get smaller as they go down, so our shading will go down. I'm just going to do a variety of arrows. I don't want to shade in real big until I get both of my lines drawn. Once I get both of my lines on there, I'll identify which piece is my actual answer, and then I'll do my big shading. Right now I just want to get the idea where the shading could be for this one particular line. Okay? So far I've solved the first equation in purple, and I've graphed it on my graph over here. So let's talk about the second equation. The second equation is in blue. So we have y equals mx plus b again. Your number by itself, that is your y-intercept. Be careful with that sign. 0, -1, that tells you where on this graph you're going to start. Well, your slope, same thing as before, m equals 1/3. Slope does not include the x, it's just the coefficient. Numerator is positive. Numerator tells you up or down. If it's positive, you go up. If it's negative, you go down. So we're going to go up 1. and always run to the right. So starting from our original point, from 0, -1, we're going to go up 1, and we're going to go right 3. And it should cross there, and this point is going to be 3, 0. And then we're going to draw our line, but remember what I said earlier. Not equal means a dotted line. So since it's not equal to, we don't want a solid line. We want to do some sort of notation to show that this is a dotted line. So I'm going to just put, it's not going to be exact, a dotted line. Okay. So I have the line drawn, but I haven't yet done my shading. So I'm going to come back over here, and this is a less than again. So I'm going to write it out, very similar to how I did for the purple. I have y is less than my line. So these were used to create our line. So my y is my shading is smaller than the line. So again, its shading is going to go down as well. If it had been greater than, the y values would have been bigger, so we would have needed to go up. Okay. So the last thing we need to worry about is there's one more part of this graph, because we've got shading going down and shading going down. So the only thing we really know is nothing up here is shaded. But we've got 3 parts that have some sort of shading. And you don't always want what's double shaded. It depends on how your question is asked. Sometimes you want just the part that's shaded twice. Sometimes you want anything that's shaded at all. So the way you know is by the connecting word between the 2 equations. If it is the word and, then you want both. Just like if you have a job posting that says, in order to apply for this job, you need a 2-year degree and 3 years experience. The only people allowed to apply for that job that will be considered are going to be people that have both. So if it's an and, it's got to be double crossed. If it's an or, such as our case, then it's either one or both. Just like if you have a job posting that wants 2 years experience or 3 years 2-year degree or 3 years experience. Then they could have the 2-year degree, they could have the experience, or they could have both, and all groups can apply for that position. The only ones that aren't eligible are the ones that have neither. And so with an or, our answer is going to be anything that is shaded. At all. Okay? So then I'm going to look. I've got 4 pieces to this graph. My first piece, I'm going to start at the top. There's nothing shaded at all in this top area, so that is not going to be part of my answer. Then I have this piece. This piece is shaded by the purple. Purple's going down, so this piece has some shading that will be included in my answer. The bottom part has both purple and blue are shading. That would be if it was an and, it would only be the bottom part, so both of those are getting shaded. And this piece over here has the bluish shading in. So it's got some shading because it's an or, it's going to include all 3 of the pieces. Again, if it would have been an and, it would have only included the bottom because the bottom was double shaded. But and is only what's double shaded, or is anything that's shaded at all, period. Okay? So when you're solving inequalities and you're graphing them, first thing you need to do anytime you're graphing y equals mx plus b, solve for y. Identify your y-intercept, the number without a variable. Identify your slope, that's the coefficient of x. Use those to get the line. To plot points, before you draw your line, identify should it be a solid line or should it be a dotted line. Once you get your lines drawn, you look at your shading. Less than, y is less than the line means you look at your y-axis and all your points, and it should go down. For greater than, it should go up. Okay? And then you're going to check your or, your and. If it's and, you only want what's shaded multiple times. If it's an or, you want anything that's shaded at all, period. Once, twice, or both. It doesn't matter.